there. My name is Victoria, and the country that I have chosen to do my project on is Japan. The reason that I chose Japan is because one of my very good friends travels to Japan for business, and every time he comes back, he just tells me so many things of why he loves it, why he loves conducting business there, how it's so clean and efficient, and things that I really didn't understand, that I knew nothing about until I did this project on Japan. So I really wanted to dive in and see why he fell in love with it, and ultimately he even had said he would rather live there than any other place in the world. So I was really excited to do this project on Japan and figure out why that was, and how to do business there, because they are actually the third largest economy in the world. So if you're a business person, this is really, really important to at least know some key facts about Japan, because it would be very likely that you would become friends with someone from Japan or conduct business with someone in Japan in this economy. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into the slides here. The context of culture for Japan is a very high context culture. There is definitely a certain way to conduct business there. They do differ in the US when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Japan, it very much values relationships. So they definitely like to get to know people on a personal basis in order to conduct business, usually. And what that means is they like to establish a bond before they feel like they can really, really trust you. And in Japan, that makes for successful business transactions. So it's a little different than the US, but if you understand these customs, you'll definitely be able to conduct business in Japan. The currency and exchange of Japan is the yen. It is 115.46. It's equal to, which is equal to $1. When you go into Japan, tipping is not acceptable. It actually would be considered rude. They usually ask for the full meal cost up front, or the full cost of whatever you are purchasing up front. And in Japan, that is to avoid lingering money. So you're definitely going to want to do exact change, or definitely exchange your money before you go to Japan. I actually read an interesting fact that if you are stuck in Japan, or you had to be in Japan in a really, really short time and didn't have time to exchange, every single 7-Eleven in Japan will help you actually exchange your money. So from whatever country you're from. So that's a very interesting fact if you have to do business in Japan. Excuse me. So their business ethics. They do have a lot of different business ethics when it comes to culture or greeting, but for the sake of actually doing business in Japan, they are very professional, just like us here in the US. The Japanese have a very similar legal system to us, which is the judicial system. Is money or gift giving expected? No, they are not expected. Some cultures, they do expect it, especially when you're meeting people, or you are meeting a certain group of people. Not here in Japan. It's just like the US again, like I said. The business etiquette. This is something that I really enjoyed learning about. Japanese definitely are polite, and that is something huge in the culture that they expect from you as well. They dress in extreme modesty and cover most of their parts. So they would be wearing something very similar in a business situation where, like me, where it'd be very covered, darker clothes, actually very similar to us in the US. Business etiquette over negotiations would most likely take place over a meal. When you are going to a meal over over a business transaction, you would want to refrain from where you sit, or actually let everybody sit before you, because there's certain places to sit in Japan, and or sorry, in at the table in Japan. So it's really, really important that you wait till all the important people are sat, or everyone you're with is sat, so that you kind of know your place, so that you don't come off rude or arrogant. And then, of course, when you meet people, the best way to meet them is with a bow. If you want to just kind of go very neutral, or you don't know what to do, instead of a handshake, always a bow would be the most polite. Some people will extend their hand, and then you can definitely give them a handshake. The main language is Japanese in Japan. So also Mandarin would be a close second. It would be really nice for you to learn the basics of Japanese, so that you can actually communicate when you're doing simple transactions like at the restaurant or even in a business atmosphere. But it is highly recommended that you have a translator, because Japanese language is very, very complex, and you don't want to come off rude, or like you didn't understand, they don't understand what you're saying. So it is okay to learn the basics like hello, goodbye, for example, arigato, um, and I'm sorry, it's so hard to pronounce. See, this is why you need a translator, but um, konnichiwa. So those things are really, really hard, so you'll definitely need a translator for sure. Safety and travel expectations. So Japan doesn't have any travel restrictions right now. Japan is usually a very, very safe country, especially to conduct business. Like I said earlier, it's the third largest economy in the world. So definitely there's a lot of people from all around the world in and out. But what I would recommend is definitely travel lightly. When you get to Japan, it is a very long, almost island country. So you're going to be traveling there for sure by plane to get to Japan. And then from there, you'll be mostly traveling from trains to taxis to wherever you're going. So, for example, just getting from a hotel from the airport, you would be traveling from plane to train to taxi. So just travel light, make sure that you're not too flashy or somebody that would be targeted. So other than that, it's a very beautiful place. You would be okay, so we're moving on to business transactions. So this is actually done in a professional setting, just like here in the US. Most businesses that you'll be frequently in Japan, they will also have offices or places to conduct business. Many transactions are done over a meal, like I was saying earlier. If not, then it would be done in a business setting, in an office or conference room. Again, I would just make sure that you are conscious of where letting other people sit before you, so that you don't offend anybody. Vendors in the streets are mostly cash transactions. However, when you go to the stores and the restaurants and the malls, those are still credit card transactions. Any kind of stuff that you would do in the US, it's very similar to there as well. All right, professional socializing and diversity issues. So, professional socializing is encouraged in the professional setting, and there's a very, very, very cool reason why, is because they are actually trying to bring more women into the workplace and more of a diverse atmosphere. Before, Japan was mostly focused on men in the workplace and long-term men that stay employed throughout their whole career in the same place. So they're really trying to move people around, trying to get new ideas, and definitely promote more women in the workplace, which is really, really great. Again, also, they are very strong on relationships, so they definitely like to talk and converse before even conducting business with you or even having a business transaction. So, encouraging professional socializing is really huge in Japan. Um, Japan is still working on diversity issues. So that was another thing I wanted to touch up on, is they still are trying to get more Westerners in, or people from out of the country, and really trying to make themselves known in the country for being one of the top economies, which they are third. So they're definitely in the running. Eating customs in Japan. This is really a fun one. So, when you are in Japan, you can eat the way you like, but if you really, really want to immerse yourself into the culture, you'll definitely want to sit at a restaurant and use chopsticks or either sit on the floor if that's how the restaurant or the home you're in is. If that's how it's set up. Some traditional Japanese people still sit on the floor with a very low table. If not, when you're doing business in Japan, you will be doing business transactions over meals. So just make sure that you do try to use chopsticks and try not to be rude to their cultures and customs. You do sit at your proper place in the table. It's very likely that you'll share from a big plate with everybody. So don't be afraid to just try to get in there. And also slurping, which is kind of funny in the US, is definitely not accepted, but in Japan it shows that you really are enjoying the food. So you'll see a lot of different things that you might be uncomfortable with, but just go with the flow. And that's kind of the best way to do it when you're eating in Japan. Sightseeing in Japan. This is really, really fun. So Japan is a huge, huge tourist place. They have Mount Fuji, Hiroshima, Oksana, Tokyo. Tokyo is it's basically like the Vegas of Japan. Just lots of lights, lots of big, tall buildings. It's really fun. It's really active. It's 24 hours. If you're more of a country person or like the calm scenery, definitely Mount Fuji. They have cherry blossom festivals that bring people worldwide. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous place to visit. So those are something that you can actually go and talk to somebody about if you learn a little bit from this video. When you conduct business with Japan or Japanese people, just ask about their capitals, what they like, what you should go see, and that really brings a relationship. It actually builds your relationship with them, just understanding. So. And those are my sources. Well, you guys, this was my video. I had a really good time learning about Japan. Again, my friend does business in Japan, and I just thought it was the coolest thing that he said that he really wanted to live there. So I really tried to immerse myself into the culture, and it seems like Japan is going to be in all of our futures in some way, whether we meet Japanese people or you do business in Japan. Again, it's the third largest economy in the world and growing, and it's the second biggest tech economy in the world too. So they're really, really up and coming. So I hope you get a few points from this video, and I really, really hope that you learned something from it. And we will see you next time. Thank you guys.